Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 6 of the NFL season. And with that, the power rankings to kick off the week. Before I dive right into it, I want to quickly say if you are new, subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. Leave a like and comment down below your power rankings. Now let's get right into it. The first honorable mention is going to be the Green Bay Packers. This is because they were on a bye this week, and thus they naturally fall into the honorable mentions. As how I handle teams that were on a bye and would be in the top 10 is they just simply go to the honorable mentions. So that's where the Green Bay Packers fall. The next honorable mention is the Los Angeles Rams. And that was a very tough loss for the Rams on the short week. But even if they did manage to win that game, they didn't really deserve to in the first place. They made constant mistakes offensively. They looked rough the majority of that game, especially on the ground where they did not perform well, which makes the final play of the game even more questionable. I don't get not keeping the hands in Matthew Stafford when he was up to nearly 400 yards passing and 3 touchdowns on the day. Running it up the gut there was just not the decision to make, I don't think, and it lost him the game. But yeah, just getting it out of his hands was mind-boggling. The defense, they stepped up late, but early on they looked very rough. In total, they gave up 342 yards through the air, and 142 of those went to Kendrick Bourne. They did not have an answer for him at all. There's an all-around a pretty rough game. There's still a solid team. They can definitely bounce back from this, but they do fall into the honorable mentions. The final honorable mention is the Denver Broncos, and that was a great win against a fellow great team. It wasn't the cleanest, but a win is a win nonetheless when you're playing a team of that magnitude. Bo Nix threw pretty well, 242 yards and a touchdown on the day. And J.K. Dobbins is showing to be the bell cow back for that team. He had 20 carries for 79 yards in this one. The defense, they stepped up to allow the comeback to happen. They pretty much shut out the Eagles through the entire second half. They had that opening drive touchdown, but besides that, Denver's defense really locked down in that one. And now, because of the win, Denver finds themselves tied for first place in the AFC West. And they are a measly 5 points away from being 5-0 on the season. They had those really tough losses to the Colts and the Chargers. So this was a very solid win for Denver to kind of get that signature win on the season. I'm excited to see how they play the rest of the way. They are an honorable mention. Number 10 is the Seattle Seahawks. And that was a game fit for the uniform matchup. Just goes to show how even the tiniest of mistakes can lead to a near flawless game being resultant in a loss. Because that was a fantastic showing. But they end up on the other side of the classic game. The interception was rough at the end from Sam Darnold, but if you look past that, he played incredibly well. 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards through the air. It was a really good game to allow for a semi comeback in this one. They also had 122 yards on the ground as a team, and all around it was a great game. The defense is banged up a bit. That's why they gave up 38. But when the defense gets back healthier and we get to the later parts of this season, Seattle's going to be a really tough team to beat if they keep up this level of play. They're a team that has surprised me throughout the first 5 weeks of the season. Even with this loss, I wanted to keep them in the top 10, so I'm putting them at number 10. Number 9 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that was a really solid game from Jacksonville, a big time win considering the landscape of the AFC at the moment. And Trevor Lawrence had that one pick. Besides that, he played pretty well, led the team in rushing as well, and his mobility was a massive reason why the Jaguars got this win, as he had 3 total touchdowns, 2 of them coming on the ground. Brian Thomas had a solid game, as did Travis Hunter, and the defense as a whole, they played well at times, questionable during other drives, but all around, a pretty solid game, and they had that 99-yard pick 6 from Devin Lloyd, which gave them the lead at one point in this game, and they kind of rode from there. This Jags defense has been really solid all year. Massive props go to Anthony Campanelli, who is the DC over there in Jacksonville. He has really had this defense playing above expectations at this point. And really, this Jaguars team as a whole find themselves above expectations after 5 weeks. This is the caliber of team we're kind of been waiting for Jacksonville to show again. The question is just how long will it last? And who knows, maybe it lasts the entire season. Nonetheless, the Jaguars are at number 9. Number 8 is the San Francisco 49ers. And for a team that has been basically destroyed by injuries offensively, they still end up with a very gutsy win on a short week. Mac Jones played well and had that connection with Kendrick Bourne that made Patriots fans wondering where that's been the entire time. The defense, they locked down against the ground, forcing the Rams to be very pass happy, where admittedly they would struggle to defend. But the 49ers played this game with one goal in mind, and they got it done. Obviously, the amount of injuries does lead to some questions still, even with this win, and with Mac Jones being 3-0. But for now, they're on top of the NFC West, and I'm curious to see how long it's going to be until they kind of lose their footing. I've been waiting for that, but they have yet to do it. And the questions on what's going to happen with Brock Purdy when he gets healthy. Obviously, I think he'll be the starter for at least a week or two. But with Mac Jones playing this well, there might be some QB controversy going on with San Francisco. I know they paid Purdy that massive contract in the offseason. But still, there's gonna be some questions swirling here as Mac Jones has looked really good through 3 starts this season. Nonetheless, the 49ers are at number 8. Number 7 is the Los Angeles Chargers, and I was not really expecting that kind of performance out of them, as especially offensively, it was not a great showing. They were up 10-0 after the first quarter, and then they were shut out through the rest of the game. Just a really, really rough showing. Justin Herbert had only 166 yards through the air in this one, was 22 of 29 completion, so that's pretty solid. He also led the team in rushing, which, take that how you will. Marion Hampton did get hurt in this game after 44 yards rushing. He has been put on IR. So the Chargers are now without their top 2 running backs for at least the next 4 weeks. We'll see when Hampton can get back, as Najee Harris is out for the season, on top of being without Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt for the foreseeable future. That's going to be a very interesting situation there in Los Angeles. The defense, they struggled. They gave up 27 unanswered to the Commanders. And what once felt like a dominant lead in that division through 3 weeks is seemingly nearly a collapse early on, if you can even call this a collapse at this point, as they're now tied with Denver. Injuries to the offensive line, injuries in general, have been the main focal point of this. They gave up 5 sacks total on the day in this one. This Chargers team that once was looking really, really good, all of a sudden now has quite a few questions surrounding it. They come in at number 7. And number 6, the Washington Commanders. Was not expecting the Commanders to come out there and play the way that they did and get the win, but they borderline dominated in this game, scoring the 27 unanswered and shutting out the Chargers through 3 quarters. Jaden Daniels made his return and played fine, nothing really special, 231 yards and a touchdown on the day. The main star, though, was Bill Krotsky-Merritt. He had a great game, 111 yards and 2 touchdowns on this one. Was really the dominant force of this Commanders offense. The defense also forced 2 turnovers and played great after they went down 10-0. This was a really solid bounce back game for the Commanders after the loss to Atlanta last week. And with Jaden Daniels now being back, it's only right to think that they're going to find their footing here soon and going to get back to the style of play we know from the Commanders, which would only leave the question of that defense still. It played really well in this game. How long can they keep it up? And when the time comes where they definitely need the defense to step up, will they be able to? Again, able to do it in this game. We'll see how the future looks for the Commanders, but for now, they come in at number 6. Number 5 is the Indianapolis Colts, and they bounced back beautifully from their really tough loss the week prior. This was a great win against the Raiders, a team that, they are in theory a better team than. Daniel Jones played solid, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Jonathan Taylor had 3 touchdowns as well. As defensively, they were also dominant the entire game, holding the Raiders to just 2 field goals. They picked off Geno Smith twice, and this was a great win. There were some concerns entering this week after the loss last week that the Colts were going to be the equivalent to last year's Saints team, where the first few weeks of the season, they were a really hot team, impressing everyone, and then they completely fall off a cliff. But a showing like that against a team that they are obviously of a higher caliber than is something you wanted to see from the Colts after the way they lost to the Rams. Adonai Mitchell had a great bounce back game in this one. He played really well after kind of being the main reason why they lost last week. It was great to see that out of him. And all around, this is a Colts team that has massively surprised a lot of people, including myself, and they come in at number 5. Number 4 is the Buffalo Bills. I don't have a lot to say about that loss. For some reason, the Bills tend to play the Patriots relatively close, though this time they couldn't escape them like they've been able to in the past. 3 turnovers for the offense, 2 of them being fumbles, did not help in this game whatsoever. The interception from Josh Allen was a pretty questionable pass, and he paid the price for it. They played undisciplined as well. 11 penalties against them was a very tough thing. A lot of those come in pretty key moments and were pretty much drive killers as well. Josh Allen, though, he still played well. 253 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. The ground game, though, kind of lackluster. James Cook only had 49 yards on the day. And again, not the type of showing you want out of him. The defense played great until the second half when the Pats started to move the ball really well. And also the Bills seemingly forgot about Stephon Diggs. He had an incredible game against them. And this is one of those games where I don't think it's any sign about the Bills going forward. I think this is just the kind of matchup that Bills-Patriots has been since Josh Allen has entered the league. So I do expect him to bounce back and to get ready for next week. But all around, an interesting performance nonetheless from Buffalo. They still stay in the top 5, but fall a few spots. They're at number 4. Number 3 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was a great win for Tampa. Defense was rough, but the offense was electric. Baker Mayfield threw incredibly well. 379 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Rashard White had 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. The defense, though, that's the main point. They were rough for 99.9% of this game, but they had an interception at the end, which ended up winning them the game, and certainly made up for what was a lackluster performance all around, as this win has massive implications later on down the season for the seeding in the NFC. Tampa also now has won all 4 of their games in the final minute, making it the first time in league history for that to be the case. And it shows how gritty of a team this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is. It's why I've been a massive fan of them this season, and with Baker Mayfield being the quarterback, and why they're such a fun team to watch, in my opinion, for this season. And with all that being said, they find themselves at number 3. Number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles. And this was going to happen sooner or later with the inconsistencies of this Eagles offense. It has now cost them. After going up 17-3, they had 4 straight drives ending in punts, and 3 of those were 3 and outs. They were shut out basically the entire second half of this game, and the defense was giving them opportunity after opportunity to seal the game. They just were not able to do so. I expected a decrease of production from the ground game, but it has taken such a massive hit to the level that I was not expecting. It's been borderline non-existent through 5 weeks. Hurts in the pass game was fine. You still waiting for that big game, though, from AJ Brown. They nearly connected on a big deep shot, but AJ Brown kind of slowed up on his route there, and it cost them. And that definitely could have been the game right there. The Eagles are in a very rough spot. Despite being a 4-1 team, their offense just seems lost. Their play calling isn't the greatest. They need to get these things figured out because the defense can only do so much if they're constantly on the field at any given point. So it's rough. They're still one of the best teams. I still think they can work these things out, but they're going to need to sooner rather than later. So they come in at number 2. And then number 1, the Detroit Lions. Since their loss in week 1 to the Packers, the Lions have been on fire as a team, and it continued into this week. Yes, Cincy is not a good team at this current moment, so things are taken with a grain of salt. But this is still also stuff we've seen from the Lions in previous weeks and dating back to last season. They know how to handle business against a weaker caliber team, and they simply did it again. Goff threw well, 258 yards and 3 touchdowns on the day. They also ran for 118 yards as a team. David Montgomery had a solid game. He also had a passing touchdown in this one. And the defense forced 3 turnovers, all being interceptions. They held Cincy to 3 points through the first 3 quarters before they let off the gas in the fourth, but they're the Lions. They have that ability to let off the gas and still be able to handle the game just fine. Their Lions are a very tough team to beat, and they continue to show it week in, week out. It makes that Packers loss a little bit more impressive on the Packers side of things. But for now, partially due to the Packers being on a bye, the Lions are back in the number 1 spot. So there you have it. Quick little rundown. The Seattle Seahawks are at 10, Jacksonville Jaguars at 9, San Francisco 49ers at 8, Los Angeles Chargers at 7, Washington Commanders at 6, Indianapolis Colts at 5, Buffalo Bills at 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 3, Philadelphia Eagles at 2, and the Detroit Lions are back in the number 1 spot. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.